G'day guys, how you going? I'm here with my good mate Jordan. I've known Jordan for, reckon 3 months, 2 months or something like that?
I reckon 3 months.
3 months. So Jordan is in the top 0.01% of people on the planet to complete not 1 but 2 Ironmen. So you finished that on the weekend, you finished your second race on Sunday. So Geordie's come in for a recovery rub, but we're also going to chat about how he went too. So for those that don't know what an Ironman race is, can you tell us what actually is involved, I guess, in the 3 things you have to do?
So it's a
Back up.
it's a 3.8 kilometre swim, 180k bike, and a marathon 42k run to finish.
Just to finish with a marathon?
Yeah,
Just because?
So it's a brutal hobby. But,
Yeah.
it's quite enjoyable.
Yeah, love it, man.
Yeah.
So how you feeling?
I'm actually pulled up pretty well. A lot better than last time. It was a big learning experience though. It was an excruciating, painful day.
Yeah, right. Compared to the first one, like, was it different?
Yeah. Compared to the first one, it was a lot harder. I went in with a bit of almost not respecting the distance, but yeah, I definitely respect the distance a lot more now.
Okay, you learned some lessons.
Yeah, I learned some lessons. So it was a good learning experience.
Yeah, cool. And how have you come out of it today? Where do you need the work done while we have a chat?
I think it's just the full body, just go over the full body.
Awesome.
Just want to prevent any future injuries.
Absolutely. Done.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's lie face down, bro. I'll get this mic set up for you. You get comfy.
Yep.
I'll chuck it in here. You a bit ginger?
Just a little bit.
All right. You put your head in there, brother, and let's get stuck into it. So you said you're not as sore coming out of this race compared to the first time round. Sorry, Leo, I've just got to get some wax. What do you think that is? Are you just more aware of like what you were in for kind of thing? Or do you feel like you're just more conditioned to actually that much load?
I think it's just conditioning. So
Yeah.
I'm only sort of almost a year and a half now into my triathlon journey. So the fact that I've got an extra 6 months of loading since that last full Ironman has definitely helped. As I think in addition with that strength work we started doing when I started seeing you probably 3 or 4 months ago now.
Yeah.
So I think in condition with those 2 things definitely helped.
Yeah, cool, man. So to talk us through like the day, I guess, like your anticipation, the morning starting off, talk about the emotions and what you went through.
So it's an early morning, usually up around like 3:34, get the food in nice and early.
Full on.
My brother and my old man were racing as well, so they were doing the half distance.
Amazing.
So got up early, watched them take off, and we started around 7:30.
Right.
No warm-up swim, so it's a bit of a shock to the system jumping in the water.
Oh,
but
really? Do you normally do that, like the first time around?
Normally you can jump in the water, but the start of the swim was straight into a boat ramp. So
right.
we just jumped straight in the water. The swim was a bit interesting because we swam like pretty much 1.9k and then had to jump out of the water, jump up a set of stairs, and then jump back in. So we went from fresh water to salt water.
Oh, right.
And the temperature difference was quite noticeable. So it was a bit of a shock to the system.
Like halfway through the swim.
Yeah, and then you had to sort of do like a K in the salt water and then jump back over the set of stairs on the other side and then back into the fresh water, and it felt like you went into a bit of a spa.
Oh, really?
Because the salt water was noticeably colder. And then just the back end of the swim was a bit interesting. The lactic starts to build up in the shoulders a bit, and it started to get a bit sore.
Right, but as expected though, or was that how did you feel? Obviously, knowing you had so much more to do, how did you feel at that point?
I felt okay, especially when I saw the time when I got out of the water. Like I was relatively happy with the time I swam.
You were happy? What did you have in mind pre-race?
I wanted to swim under 1 hour 10.
Yep. And
I swam 1:05:30 or something.
Yeah.
So
you're positive at that point. You're thinking good.
Yeah. It was good. It was positive. And then jumped on the bike. My plan was just to race aggressive from the start of the bike.
Yep.
I did that. and then it's quite a hilly course. About 120k into the bike. Actually before that, about 80k into the bike. I'm thinking I'm on today. I'm on the podium. Can't see how this could go wrong.
Actually?
Yeah.
80 k's into the bike, you're thinking I'm set here, I'm on.
I was about 3.5 hours in. I'm like, yeah, today's my day. Like everything just feels so good.
Oh no, did you count your chickens a bit like Carlton, did you?
Yeah, a little bit like Carlton. And then, now down the road, I'm contemplating how on earth I'm going to finish the bike and then run a marathon. So
What happened?
my legs just disappeared.
Really?
Yeah, I don't think it was that much pain. Like the heart rate was just dropping off, and I just couldn't put any power through the legs. Speed started dropping off fairly quickly.
Right.
And then it was just sort of a really slow trod back to the end of the bike. So yeah, it's amazing how quickly things can turn around. So yeah, in the space of 1 hour, I've gone from thinking podium to how can this go wrong to how am I going to finish?
How are you going to actually finish? Wow, man. Can you explain that? Like, all
Well,
the lessons you've learnt from it, at least, going into your next race, end of the year?
I don't think I've 100% worked that one out yet, but I can definitely tell you for a fact it's pretty brutal to contemplate running for 3.5, 4 hours when you know your race is over. So when you know you're not going to win, and when you know we need your time, yeah, it's pretty much a mental battle.
It's pretty character building, I'd imagine, when you know you got such a grueling... Like, a marathon alone is an amazing achievement.
Yeah.
Let alone when you've done a 180k bike ride and a 3.8k swim, and you're thinking, you're pretty destitute in your thoughts, eh?
Yeah. So... that was a sort of character building finish. So yeah, it was a good learning experience. I don't think I would change much if I was in the same position.
Okay, yeah.
I think having an injury sort of filled prep and missing a lot of key sessions, it obviously didn't help. So.
Yeah, well, I think you've done remarkably well, because obviously you first came to me here, obviously, like we said, 3 months ago.
Yeah.
And you were pretty... Well, you didn't even know if you were going to run, hey? Like, the way you were at with your body and your injuries. Do you want to maybe talk about what you went through post the first Ironman you did 6 months ago, was it?
Yeah, December last year.
Yeah, so how did you recover from that, and talk about your experience in the lead up to this race?
So in the lead up to that, I've had Achilles tendonitis issues in both of my Achilles. Really stiff lower back pain.
Yeah.
And a bad dodgy neck. So sort of covered the whole body, pain everywhere.
Everywhere was pretty banged up.
Post first Ironman, I was in the wards. I couldn't really walk around for a couple of weeks. Achilles were both inflamed, blue coloured.
Yeah, swollen, weren't they?
Yeah, pretty swollen. Lower back was sore. So I took 3 weeks off training and then started training again and went, straight back into Achilles problems, even with minor load. So we pretty much went into a rehabilitation phase when I started with you.
Yeah.
Trying to strengthen up some areas. So yeah, I think that's...
Yeah, but like obviously, for an interrupted prep, I think you've done remarkably well to, front up at the start line and still finish in a good time. Like, I know you're probably not happy with it, but like 10 hours and 17 minutes it took. So people can't even do 45 minutes of exercise, let alone 10 hours of intense exercise, mate. So yeah, you should be proud, I reckon.
Yeah, it's a learning experience. I've got pretty big goals, so it's a bit of a kick in the teeth sometimes. I sort of look at it as a bit of a failure, but a really good learning experience. So there's so many different ways to look at it. You can beat yourself up. Like, I could really get in a hole about it, but I've already planned my next races and my next where I'm going after this, so I don't really have time to get too down about it, really.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So what is your target, mate? Maybe talk about the goals that you've got, because you're a young fella. You're 24 or 25?
25.
25. So
Yeah.
plenty of years ahead of you. What's the plan?
So it's actually veered a little bit since we last spoke. So
Oh, cool.
it's a bit
Hot
of a
off the press
surprise.
here. News
So,
for me too.
So in 21 weeks, I'm going to Malaysia
Oh,
to race another full Ironman.
Okay.
In a little island called Langkawi.
okay. 21 weeks.
Yeah,
Holy
so
moly.
21 weeks. So I'm going to try and get a world champ slot there.
Right.
And try and get a Kona slot for next year, which is sort of the pinnacle of long course triathlon. And then 5 weeks after that, I'll be trying to get a 70.3 world champ slot for New Zealand in Melbourne.
Right. And what's a 70.3 for all
So
us novices out here?
that's the half distance triathlon.
That's
so
a half, okay.
half Ironman distance.
Gotcha. So 21 weeks to another full Ironman.
Yep.
And after that, did you say 5 weeks?
Yeah, 26 weeks to Melbourne.
Till the...
So
And the world champs, when and where are they?
So I'm pretty confident Kona's November next year,
Yeah.
and it might be October, and then the world champs are in New Zealand for the first time in a long time. So it's easy to get to from Australia.
Yeah, perfect.
So it's sort of a no-brainer not to try and get a slot instead of trying to go over to America or something, just from a price-wise thing.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah, no, awesome, man. So what's our plan, I guess? Because obviously the plan for when it was December you raced, we were going to get into a bit of a pre-season or a mini pre-season with the lifting, and even get you down to sprints to try and increase your power. Have you had obviously you're only 5 days out from your race, but have you had a chance to think about the prep upcoming, or are you still in relaxation mode?
Nah, it's just the brain's already ticking over.
Ticking?
Yeah. So I've got a 4-week recovery block, and then 4.5 weeks left now, and then pretty much a 16-week Ironman build. But we will include from next week onwards some get back into some strength training.
Yep.
And that'll probably continue for the first sort of 10 weeks, I'd say.
Yeah,
And then it will
perfect.
probably drop off again.
Amazing, mate. So it's bloody brilliant. I still have no idea how you guys even exist in the world. I'd like, how does it, like, we spoke a little bit about the stuff you go through during the race. Like, how did you go during this one? Like, some of the periods of time where you must just, like you said to me previously, you start talking to yourself. Do you go a little bit delirious? Like, how was it this time round?
This one was a bit different because it was so technical on the bike. So the swim the first hour goes pretty quickly.
Yep.
You're sort of just trying to concentrate on getting from one buoy to the other. And when you're swimming, you don't really have to think about too much. Towards the end of the swim, you start thinking about the bike, just trying to what you have to do once you get out of the water. But this bike was, it's pretty technical, very hilly.
Oh, just turn the light off there.
It went a lot faster. So no, there was not much delirious time on the bike. More so just contemplating life on how I was going to finish towards the end.
So no talking to yourself like you said in your first
Ironman. No, there was definitely talking. I definitely spoke to myself a fair bit, especially when I was starting to go through that tougher period. You really start trying to switch yourself on and trying to switch yourself on, but switch your brain off almost.
Yeah, okay.
And just try not to think about the worst case scenarios, forgetting about the time, especially when your back starts to get sore. So, we spoke about some ways to sort of get around that.
Yeah. What did you have on your hand, mate? We spoke about this.
I've got my Just a Loop, and I've told everyone it's copyrighted, so no one can copy it.
They can't use it.
Yeah.
Tell everyone about Just a Loop.
So it's more so just a thing to switch the brain off when I'm on the bike and my back's hurting or my Achilles is hurting. We spoke about sometimes it might not be as much muscle pain.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's just that message going back to the brain that the body doesn't want to do something. So it gives you that little extra bit. It has worked. It does work. It has worked for me.
Yeah.
So it's just a good reminder because, yeah, sometimes your brain can go pretty sideways pretty quickly, especially when things are going average. So, yeah, that was...
Yeah, I remember it was when you were dealing with that Achilles tendinopathy and I think you were just returning to running, but you had a lot of fear about it flaring up again. And I remember talking to Jordan about how sometimes pain is just that, it's a loop, because there's been pain there for so long, that loop stays present, even when the tissues have started to heal. So I remember we spoke about that with your Achilles, and I didn't realise, but you loved it so much and it resonated with you so much that you actually wore it on your wrist at a pre-race. Was that down at...
in Geelong.
In Geelong, yeah. So it's awesome that you rode it on your hand, so it was a constant reminder when you were going through hard times.
Yeah. Yeah, I've got that one, and the I can, I will, I must. So it's just good mental notes to have, I think.
So where does this all come from, man? With the I guess the enduring so much pain through exercise. Like, have you always been like this, or is this something that's you've found as a new passion? Like, tell us where it comes from.
Well, I stopped playing footy. I was like an avid golfer when I was growing up. And I've just started working too much, and I was just sick of always being on the tools and doing those long days, and I needed an outlet. And then I started running. Body didn't like 60k week of running, obviously after 2 weeks of running, so I went and bought a road bike, and then I was like, I may as well do a triathlon, it just makes sense. And then I was hooked, and I went from couldn't really swim 25 metres to jumping into a half Ironman distance race. And
really?
Yeah, and I didn't really swim too much of it. I think my swim times come down by over 20 minutes, so I really was a bad swimmer. I still can't swim that well, but it's come a long way. But then I don't do anything in halves, so once I was invested, I've invested some serious time, effort,
serious
and
money as well.
Yeah.
Oh, it's really, really cool.
So,
and the other thing you just mentioned then is the golf. That's something that, because I know a lot of people out there know that I'm an avid golfer as well, but he's a very talented man, this Jordan. You were actually on the cusp of becoming a professional golfer first, before all of this, and you're only 25.
Yeah, when I was younger, golf was my sport, but it was hard, but I had to give up on that dream. Yeah. So
now you just get to come in every week and listen to me talk about my trials and tribulations with golf, eh?
Yeah. I'll definitely go back to playing one day, but I just need to get my expectations out of the way. It's hard sometimes.
Oh, well, we've got a round teed up, haven't we? Like you told me, you promised me that we were going to have a round after you come back from this race.
Yeah, we will.
Yeah. No, that's awesome, man. So, obviously, like we've been speaking about, Jordan's been coming in practically once a week for the last 3 months, I think it's been, man.
Yeah.
Maybe missing a few weeks here and there, but what we were doing with Geordie initially was just trying to get the calf and the Achilles pain and tension under control. So we'd be doing a lot of sessions into the calves, into the Achilles, just stripping them, and obviously trying to manage the ongoing back kind of complaints and neck issues that Geordie's had as well. And because you are relatively, like you said before, new to the sport and new to the loads, a lot of this stuff that Geordie's feeling is his body conditioning to this kind of load, and it's mental load for everyone on the planet. So it is one of those. I'm pretty naive to the sport, man. But would you say it's one of those sports where it does take years to develop your nous, your conditioning, your physical fitness to the sport before you can kind of make some inroads with getting good results and things like that?
Yeah, I think everyone's different, but for the average normal person who doesn't really have much endurance base. I think for people that come from a sport that like running, swimming or riding originally, they've
True.
sort of got a little bit of a head start. But when when you're pretty fresh or when you haven't really done much of either, it does take, and I still think it would take a long time to get that conditioning. There's no shortcut to becoming good. It's just, you got to put that work in over multiple years, and it's just that consistency.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and that's what we're kind of in now, is that phase where, like we've already spoken about it, but obviously continuing the body work to get into the muscles, to hydrate them and get them able to perform at a higher level, but also introducing Geordie into more of our lifting and the sprinting that we do here too. Because even though he's very much a long distance weapon, we believe that the sprinting side of things that can really benefit the long distance athletes as well, just with like force production and overall general mechanics as well. When you sprint, you can maintain your pure biomechanics a lot more than you can when you're, say, doing very long distance work, because it's just, the time duration makes it really hard to maintain your pure form. So I'm really excited to show you some of the sprinting that we do here, man, because I reckon it'd benefit you greatly. And like you said before, you definitely noticed that you got some benefit out of the lifting that you did, didn't you?
Yeah, I think it's it definitely helps. So it's that. It's helped with the day-to-day to maintain the consistency through training, which I've struggled with, which is still not perfect and a work in progress, but it does help. And the back end of those races or training sessions, when you've already been going for 5 or 6 hours, just having that extra strength and being able to activate the right muscles at the right time, it's sort of a bit of a game changer. So yeah, it's 100% something that we'll continue and start again now that the race is over, and sort of in that recovering stage and back into building stage. Yeah.
So where do you think your improvements or biggest improvements can come from? Do you still think it's like things like the swim?
I think my 3 sports are at a level now where they're all the same. I don't think any of them are that good.
Okay, yeah.
But none of them are that bad anymore. So my swim's probably the weakest for me personally. But I don't think anything's that strong. I think I've got room to grow in all 3 disciplines, and I think the longer I continue, the better I'm going to get. Especially if I can get some consistency back in my running. I know I can run off minimal load. So once I can get that consistency in training, I think my running will probably be my strongest weapon.
Yeah, gotcha. And do you feel like because of the Achilles, that was the one that was the most affected? And
yeah,
did you feel
100%.
like were you cooked on Sunday into the run? Like, were you not happy with your run time?
Oh no, I had some mental battles on the run. I think the fact that my race was over before I started running, it was just a real big grind. So I had to, I slowed down. So no, my run time's disappointing. If I was in the race, I probably would have run a little bit faster in hindsight, but I was well and truly done.
Do you go into a bit of preservation mode when you're in that mindset of I'm done here, I just want to finish, I'm not going to kind of break myself down too much? Or is it the mental deterioration?
No, it's more the mental battle. Because all you're thinking is, like, if I start walking now, this is going to be a long day.
Yeah, okay.
And towards the end of my run to it, it got dark and really windy and cold.
Just to cap it off for you.
Yeah, in the marathon, it got really, really windy towards the end. So running back up into the headwind was excruciating. So it was quite mentally fatiguing. The only thing that's sort of keeping it going is if I start walking now, that I'm going to be out here for the next 10 hours. So.
Speaking of that, what was the longest time? What was the quickest time? How did everyone go?
I think that the top pro was around 8 hours, 10 minutes.
Moses.
So
just over 2 hours in front of you?
Oh, yeah, yep.
Man.
And the slowest person was about 16 hours, I think 17 hours pretty much.
Wow.
Just under.
And is that nearly the cutoff? So Sunday, that was after midnight?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, Monday, was it?
Yeah, that's Monday morning at around 1 a.m.
So all the marshals have to stay out and wait for that old Paul Codger to come through, eh?
Yeah, some of them aren't even that old.
Really?
Yeah.
I suppose you never really know how the body's going to fully react, eh? Like,
Yeah.
how'd your brother and your dad go in the half?
Not bad. My dad did his first one, I think in about 6 hours.
Yeah.
He was happy just to finish.
Oh, that was his first ever?
Yeah, and
Oh,
my
good on him.
brother did 5 hours and a half, and yeah, he wasn't too pleased with that.
So you had a bit of a support crew up there with you to get you through?
Yeah, my girlfriend was there as well.
Yeah.
So she's pretty supportive, which is good. And yeah, she loves it. So, and yeah, my dad and my other brother was there as well. So, yeah, it is good, especially when you're struggling to see people out there that you know.
Yeah, absolutely. So getting back to the treatment over here, I can feel that Geordie's got a big nugget right in this part of his shoulder. You're probably feeling that too, aren't you, Geordie?
Yeah, it's pretty sore.
Yeah, I feel like this one's got even more curry in it than the last one did, eh?
Yeah.
You feeling that too, right
Yeah.
in here? But yeah, historically, I guess it's been left neck for you, hasn't it? And
Yeah.
with the Achilles too, we're going to get into that in a little minute's time, but the right one was the one you had all the problem with pre-campaign, albeit, for the last month or two, you were actually feeling pretty tip-top.
Yeah.
But what happened on race day? You told me the left one went bung.
I haven't had a problem with the left one since the last race. So since then, it's been the right all year. But yeah, it was the left one. Sort of blew up in the race. And running down the hill on each lap and up the hill just made it worse and worse and worse.
Yeah. And you are right in saying to me that for those that know cycling out there, I think the Giro d'Italia is on at the moment, but there was a 17% gradient in the cycling component, was there?
I think it was a bit more, to be honest.
More than that?
Someone was telling me it was up near 20, but I don't know if I believe it.
How was that, attacking that?
After 173 Ks, it's not what you want.
It's right at the end, is it?
Yeah, it's 170K mark.
That is sickening.
But yeah, I'm lucky. I'm a bit lighter than most, so up the hills I put a bit of time into people. But yeah, it's not fun.
Yeah, no, it's brutal.
Fair few people walking up that one.
Really? Literally walking with the bike?
Yeah, walk with the bike.
Wow.
But it's rolling and then downhill into the finish line from there, so it's...
You know that when you get over that, you're good. You can
Yeah.
start your bloody marathon. Yeah. All right, so we're going to get into the QL now. So this is a deep muscle in the lower back. So you can see Geordie react quite a lot then. Got a bit in there, my man?
Yeah.
So yeah, just going pretty light today on Geordie. You probably noticed that it's a bit more of a flush. I'm not going too crazy because his body's been under more stress than most people put their body through in a lifetime. So just giving him a little bit of a flush today through the whole backside. But yeah, the QL, really deep muscle in the lower back. It's almost in the abdomen and it attaches to the bottom rib, top of the pelvis and then the spine. So it's like this kind of quadrangle looking muscle. But yeah, a lot of times people have this muscle that's really tight here and it can cause back pain. But the biggest thing in terms of athletic performance is it actually can inhibit your ability to use the glutes. So yeah, I'll show you on this side. It just sits in this little pocket here. So when we put our thumb in this space here, we can almost palpate to feel what it feels like. And I probably would say that it felt like he had a little bit more on the right-hand side. I don't know what you're feeling there, Geordie, but would you say the same thing too, or has that got a little bit of curry in it as well?
I think they're both pretty pretty sore at
They're
the
both
moment.
pretty jacked up?
Yeah.
So yeah, I like to just push straight in there. You can double thumb it just to broaden the pressure a little bit. And then you can just do these little jostling movements, keeping the pressure on pretty consistently, but then just moving the body around, not taking the pressure off, but just pushing in, like so. We'll also get into a bit of glute as well, so we'll just go straight into the to the middle of it here. Just ease in. Just because it's a flush, we just want to try and free up the bulk of it, where the sciatic nerve comes down into the hamstring. So just sink into that there. Pin and hold. With these kind of more maintenance rubs, you've only got maybe a minute to work on these spots, so you just try and find the bang for buck spot. And a good way to do it, if you did want to work through a few different areas, you can just do a bit of pin and release. So pin a spot, release it, come to a different spot, pin up into that there. Got a fair bit in there, Geordie.
Yeah, it's pretty sore.
How you going here, brother? Pin there, see him going a bit crazy there. And then release. It's good. All right, let's get into his hammy. So how'd the hammies fare, mate? Yeah, the hammies are generally pretty good, aren't they? All in all? Don't really give you too much?
Tight, sometimes. They get pretty tight, but not too bad. They haven't given me too many issues yet.
Nah. So yeah, just doing a bit of a broad warm up here, just saying how you going to the muscles. And we can do one down the lateral hamstring there, which is that bicep femoris. With the hamstrings too, generally the outer hamstring is the one that is involved with most explosive kind of output, whereas the inside too, the semimembranosus, semitendinosus are generally strong stabilizers, although the whole hamstring complex is just so important to human movement and gait. I know Ninja's old sprint coach mentor used to say the ideal human skeleton is a just skeleton with hamstrings. That's how functional they are to human movement. So the problem is with hamstrings is they're very much, I guess, undertrained, underdeveloped, and when people do train them, it's generally eccentrically, so when they're on stretch, which isn't a bad thing, but it's also good to train them in a shortened position, which is concentric as well. But the best thing for us in terms of what we believe is the ideal thing for hamstrings is sprinting. The loads and forces that go into our hamstrings when we do sprint, we can't actually replicate that in the gym. So yeah, that's why sprinting is the ultimate, because if you want a body that is performing at its best, yeah, like I said, you can't replicate the loads that sprinting does in the gym. So that's why even with a long distance athlete like Geordie, I feel like you get so much benefit from doing things like sprinting. You learn yourself something there too, Geordie, eh?
Yep.
So I'll get an elbow in here, just get right up into that tendon. Sinking in. Fair bit in there. And we'll just do a big one right down the guts here. Oh. Fair bit in there, bro. Are you doing all right?
It's not too bad.
He's doing good. Just trying to hydrate that. As soon as we get to this halfway point is generally when things start to get a little bit hairy. We'll go down there. Might just do one with the thumbs too. So just double thumb right up into that tendon. Where is it? In there. There it is. There's a bit there. He's shaking and moving now, isn't he? There's a bit there. Just do a pin and release. Pin and release there too. So if you're a massage practitioner watching this, just get better at pinning things. Even for 10 seconds, they can still have big benefits. So pin and release, and we'll move on. There we go. He's all good. He's all good. So we mentioned his Achilles before, so doesn't look too bad, man. You said some swelling's kind of gone down. What do you...
Yeah, the left one was pretty swollen. Sort of yesterday was the first day it pretty much calmed down.
Pretty much calmed down, yeah, cool.
I still think yesterday it looked visually a little bit bigger than the right. Not sure today, I didn't really look too much.
So if you come over here, Lee, I'll show you. This is a really cool one I like to use just to warm up the whole Achilles. So I'm using the bones in the heel of my palm and then just, rubbing that heel to I guess, warm up all the areas where the Achilles comes and down and attaches to that bone. Like so. I really like that. And I'll just do a little bit of work into the plantar fascia too. These feet have done a lot of work over the past week or on Sunday, so getting some blood into these areas can be good. Once again, just pinning and releasing. People get a bit freaked out over my thumb there, but yeah, that's my strong point, so you can see how bent it is. A little bit in that foot, man.
Yeah, that area is always a little bit sore.
Always pretty jacked up, yeah. Yeah, I mean, that feels really hardened in there, so I think he does need quite a lot of work. So start on that heel and then just strip down. If it's pretty intense for people, we call it sweeping the leaves. So you pin a spot, scoop. It can get quite intense. So if you see them shaking and screaming, then you can just pick it off, give them a breather, start again. Scoop down, give them some curry, take it off, start again, scoop down, like so. So yeah, feeling good. Then we can come up to the Achilles itself and just start with just pinning back into the heel up here and then straight down and then taking it back up. Is it quite tender to touch, man, or is it okay?
That's not too bad.
Is it a little bit higher where you were feeling it, kind of like the lower calf?
Nah, it's yeah, where your finger is now is probably the center point, I'd say.
It's the spot? Okay, so we're just going to pin and hold that there. Giving you a bit of curry, man?
Yeah, it's still a bit...
Still angry?
Yeah, upset.
Cool, so we won't go too hard here. Just make sure I'm pinning the right spot, because obviously it's inflamed, it's angry, it's been under a lot of stress, so just pinning it, holding it can alter the pain receptors that are present there. Obviously hydrate the area, release the area, or just kind of free up the fibers a little bit. And yeah, hopefully kickstart the body's ability to heal. Speaking of the body and like with the pros, Geordie, like is there many pros out there that can go through it without incident, or does pretty much everyone?
No, it's the same sort of scenario for everyone.
Yeah.
It's such a long day that, yeah, and the speeds that they're going at too are quite insane. So their swim, ride and run is pretty respectable with swimmers, riders and runners. So
really,
it's pretty brutal toll.
So when you add it all up, yeah.
I think the biggest difference is probably the run, but swim wise and bike wise, yeah, there's a bit of a difference, but not that much.
Yeah, like I can't fathom it, man. Like I obviously sprint, played footy basically my whole life, and like golf's my main sport now. So you compare Ironman to golf, it's a little bit more sedentary. But I've just always admired people who can put themselves through so much pain, you know, and endure so much. And I feel like you are a builder, have your own company. Like I feel like you learn so much from doing this kind of stuff, if you know what I mean, like for later in life. That's why I think it's so character building. It gets you, I guess it helps you get better at handling different situations as you grow older, because you've got these runs on the board, you know?
Yeah, I think the one thing I've learned is, the limit on the human body is, it's all in your head.
Yeah.
So you can do a lot more than what you think. It's quite incredible. I think I'm sort of mediocre compared to the 75-year-old lady that's finishing this full Ironman in 16 hours. Like, she's out there for sometimes double the amount of time.
Well, she does them all the time, does she? Or
no, there's different ladies, like old guys.
Really?
It's just insane. So, it's different types of fitness, but yeah, it's just crazy what the body can do. So I think if you can switch your head off sometimes and just sort of go with your gut and just back yourself in, I think you can do a lot more than what people or what your expectations are on yourself.
Yeah, well said, man. And do you feel like there was a light bulb moment that made you realise that, or have you always felt that way? Like, when did you, or is it just more the more you're exposed to it and the more you get through it, the more you think you know it's truth?
I think once I stopped playing sport and I was just working all the time, I think I started to make some pretty ordinary decisions.
Okay.
You know, that sort of end of your teens, early 20s, some of your decisions are a bit questionable, but I just needed to flick the right switch and make a bit of a change. So, yeah, once I did that, sort of just back myself in and throw myself in the deep end, and I think I'll keep doing that. It's the only way to get better.
Yeah, amazing, man. How have you gone with, you're so young, but have you had to change friendship circles, or obviously the sacrifices are a given, but like how's it gone for you socially and with work and things like that?
It's pretty, that question is a never sort of ending agenda since I've started.
Yeah.
I think at the start, everyone's really, really supportive and motivating. But once you sort of, a fair chunk in, you really learn about who your mates are and which family's willing to support. You've definitely, I think, lost some friends.
Okay. Yeah.
Because it's like having a second full-time job, the training.
Yeah, like tell us, like the last month or two, I don't know how much it was, 38-hour training loads? Yeah,
Oh no, not quite that long, but try get just under 30 hours of training.
30 hours, is it? Yeah.
But that on top of work, it's pretty hard to do and to maintain, and I struggled to maintain it. It's just too tiring, so it is hard on the people that you live with, especially like girlfriend, partners, close mates,
They don't
family,
fully understand,
parents.
I'd imagine, eh?
They understand and they're supportive, but at the end of the day, sometimes it's just even hard to go see people, and even when you do have spare time, you're so exhausted, like sort of getting up 3 o'clock to train before work, and then working all day, and then I'm lucky I run my own business, so I can sort of finish early sometimes.
Building too, though, like it's hardly a job where you're sitting at a desk.
So I can once I jump off the tools, I can train after work, and then sometimes you're not home till 8:30, 9 o'clock at night, and then your sleep's pretty important too. So when you do find some spare time, you're so tired. It's hard. And I still haven't found the right balance yet. So it is difficult.
That's what I mean about it. I don't think many people get it right the first few times in this kind of caper, do they? They might get lucky, but I feel like it's a never ending progression or evolution.
Yeah, I think there's only so much you can ask from some people, and my having my dad and my brothers both pretty fit and healthy. My other brother's in obviously does the triathlon stuff. My dad's gotten into it, and my other brother sort of runs a fair bit and does the marathon sort of stuff. So it's good to have those people around. But even my mum just goes like, I don't know where you get these genes from. Like, they're not from me. So it is hard to try and find the balance, and you're sort of always having those conversations, even though there's sometimes hard ones to have. Of you got to pull your head in a little bit here and sort of make time for some other people. So it is tricky.
No, I think it's great, man, and you're sticking to your values and what's important to you, and you got some great goals in plan. Have we spoken about that yet? What are the goals, man? At the end, like end game goals, I guess. You got to dream big, and I know that you do. What are they?
Sort of time-wise goals for racing. I definitely want to go sub 4, so under 4 hours for the half distance Ironman, and under 8 hours 30 for the full.
8 hours 30, cool.
So that's my overall goal. I want to go to the world champs for the 70.3 in the full distance and try and podium one day.
Yep, love it.
How far off that is, I'm not sure. I want to get on the. My main goal for the immediate future is I want to go to races and podium. I want to be in the top 3. I want to be in the race.
You don't want to make up the numbers, eh?
No, I want to race to race. I don't want to race to make up the numbers. So, like overall, like I think in this race, I finished like 80th out of like 1,000 people, but you're still miles out of the race.
Yeah.
So yeah, I just want to get into the race and sort of be thereabouts. And then, get those slots to go to the world champs and, race the best sort of age group athletes in the world would be, pretty cool experience.
Yeah, amazing, man. What's the average age of these Iron men, Iron women? You know, when do you generally peak in the sport?
That's actually I'm not 100% sure. Like
I can't imagine it'd be too young though.
No, the age, because it's so expensive. That's probably the key one. That it's sort of that 30 to 35 to 40 age group, and maybe slightly older and slightly younger.
Right.
A lot of people just do one Ironman and then
just to tick it off the list.
To tick it off the bucket list, like a marathon.
So there's a lot of bucket listers in there rather than people like yourself that want to actually see
it's a mix. It's a big mix. So there's always different types.
Yeah, cool.
But yeah, there's definitely always a big group of people that are in the race that want to race to win. So yeah.
So just going back to the treatment, man, feeling your body. Like it's interesting. I felt like your left hamstring was really tight.
Yeah.
Your left foot was really tight too. So whether it's byproduct of the race or that's probably maybe why the Achilles was jacked up a little bit. But it's interesting to feel the comparison now that I'm on this right hand side. Like the foot on the right hand side's definitely got some stuff here, which you can probably feel right now.
Yeah, I can definitely
definitely feel that. But yeah, that hamstring's something that I want to explore a little bit more next time. But no, I appreciate you coming in today, man. It's been nice to have a chat here. He's been a star, hasn't he, Leo? He's been a great interview. Sometimes it's hard interviewing people. You kind of got to get them on a roll, get them talking, but you've been fantastic, mate. First time you've been interviewed when you've been half nude, mate, in your life?
I think so. It's almost like a part-time counselling session.
That's it. Yeah, maybe talk about how have you found the time, because we've actually never spoken about this just personally. How have you found the time here and coming to hang out with me and receive the Bodywork, man?
Yeah, it's been good. Like it's a bit of a journey to come here. Like it's a bit of a out
from
the way.
Fitzroy to out here, it's like an hour drive, yeah?
Yeah, about 45 minutes. So
each way?
Yeah, each way. So I do make the effort to come out here, and I have seen it has helped. So obviously the schedule's pretty busy when the training load's right at its max. So it is hard to fit it all in, but it's a necessity. It's definitely like. You can't do this plus work, plus life, and not get injured.
Yeah.
So I think the Bodywork's helped heaps. The strength and conditioning has helped heaps. I love coming here.
Yeah, and like you said before, like a lot of the people that come to see us too, they value the chat, and I think I get a lot out of it too. Obviously, you and the customers I see get a lot out of it as well. But it's nice to just come and spend an hour out of your day to receive the Bodywork, but also have a chance to vent and process things and run things past someone that's like impartial to your life, so there's no fear of judgment or things like that, because you can just say what you really mean. So I think there's a bit in that too, eh?
Yeah. No, 100%.
Yeah, you've done bloody well, man. So I'll just continue this treatment here a little bit, but thanks to Geordie for coming in today. You can pop your head up there and say bye to everyone.
Thank you.
And keep an eye out for him. So your next race is in 21 weeks. Maybe we'll keep some updates for the people out there. But yeah, thanks so much, man. I appreciate it. You're a weapon. Can't wait to see what you do in the future, man.
Yeah, thanks for your help.
That's all right. See you guys. Bye.